If you ever find a camera buried in the middle of the forest, leave it there. Don't charge it, don't watch the footage. And whatever you do, don't keep recording after sunset, because some cameras don't capture memories, they capture deaths. Welcome back to Tales of the Dark. Tonight we are talking about a terrifying found footage horror story about a buried camcorder discovered deep inside the woods, containing footage from hikers who disappeared years ago. But the most horrifying part, the final recording showed the cameraman standing behind them. My name is Noah Carter, and 2 years ago, 4 of us went camping in the Black Hollow Forest for a weekend hiking trip that permanently destroyed our lives. It started as a stupid internet challenge. There were rumors online about abandoned fire towers hidden deep inside Black Hollow, along with stories about missing hikers, strange recordings, and people hearing voices in the trees at night. Naturally, we thought it sounded fun. There were 4 of us, me, Ryan, my best friend since high school, Mia, Ryan's girlfriend, and Evan, the guy who filmed everything for his YouTube channel. Evan recorded constantly, every hike, every joke, every meal. The guy basically lived behind a camera. We entered Black Hollow around noon, and honestly, at first the forest looked beautiful. Massive pine trees stretched endlessly across the mountains while sunlight cut through the branches in golden beams. Birds chirped. Wind moved softly through the trees, completely peaceful. But after several hours hiking deeper into the forest, things started feeling wrong. The woods became quieter. Too quiet, no birds anymore, no insects. Even the wind seemed to stop moving. Ryan noticed it first. "Doesn't this place feel dead to you?" Mia laughed nervously. "Thanks for making it worse." Evan kept filming while joking dramatically. "Welcome to the cursed forest where we definitely die tonight." At the time, that joke didn't feel funny. Around sunset, we found the old fire tower, or at least what remained of it. The structure had collapsed years earlier. Rust-covered metal beams stuck out from the forest floor while pieces of rotting wood scattered through the trees. And near the base of the tower, we found the camera, half buried beneath dirt and dead leaves. An old camcorder, 2000 style, covered in mud. Evan immediately got excited. "No way." He picked it up carefully. The thing looked ancient. Its lens cracked slightly, battery compartment rusted, and carved into the side with something sharp were the words, "Don't watch." Ryan laughed. "Well, now we have to watch it. Smart people would have thrown it away. We didn't." That was mistake number 1. We set camp nearby just before dark. And surprisingly, the camcorder still worked. Somehow, even after sitting buried in dirt for years. Evan charged it using a portable battery pack while rain started falling lightly across the forest. The atmosphere inside the tent became strangely tense while the loading screen flickered across the tiny camera display. Then finally, the footage appeared. The first recording looked normal. 4 hikers standing near the exact same fire tower years earlier. The timestamp read, October 12, 2009. Ryan frowned. "That's 13 years ago." The people in the footage laughed and joked exactly like us. 2 guys, 2 girls, camping trip, completely ordinary at first. But the longer the footage continued, the stranger things became. The hikers started mentioning sounds in the woods at night, whispers outside their tents, footsteps circling camp. One girl claimed she kept seeing someone standing between the trees. Then the footage cut abruptly. The next recording happened during nighttime. The cameraman whispered quietly while filming through the tent opening. "Do you hear that?" Rain hit the tent softly in the footage. Then we heard it too, breathing, heavy breathing somewhere outside the tent. Mia immediately looked toward our own tent entrance. "Okay, I hate this." Ryan laughed nervously, probably just edited. Then the cameraman inside the footage slowly zoomed toward the trees, and standing between them was a person, tall, motionless, watching the tent. The image quality was terrible, but we could tell something felt wrong about the figure. Too tall, arms too long, and somehow its face looked blurred even when the camera focused directly on it. The cameraman whispered, "Why is he standing there?" Then the figure moved, not walking, jerking suddenly sideways between the trees unnaturally fast before disappearing. The footage ended immediately afterward. Nobody spoke inside our tent for several seconds, then Evan forced a laugh. "Okay, that's actually creepy." Outside, a branch snapped somewhere in the darkness. All four of us froze instantly. Ryan grabbed a flashlight, probably just an animal, that's what we told ourselves. Then the camcorder suddenly turned back on by itself. The screen flickered violently with static. A new recording started playing automatically. This footage looked different, shakier, panicked. The hikers from 2009 were running through the forest screaming. Something chased them through the trees, but the camera never showed what it was, only terrified breathing, footsteps, and whispers moving around them in the darkness. Then suddenly the cameraman fell hard onto the ground. The camera pointed backward for one brief second, and we saw it. A tall figure standing directly behind the group, watching silently. Its body looked almost human except for the height, at least 8 feet tall, and its face looked completely black, like a hole in reality itself. Mia screamed. Ryan paused the footage instantly. Silence filled our tent. Then Evan whispered, "Wait." He pointed toward the screen, toward the trees behind the hikers, and my blood turned cold immediately, because standing far behind the black figure were 4 more people, watching the footage being recorded. 4 silhouettes standing together near the trees, one tall, one wearing a hood, one holding a flashlight, and one carrying a camera. Us. The footage from 2009 somehow showed us standing there 13 years later. Nobody spoke after seeing ourselves in the footage. The rain outside the tent grew heavier while static hissed softly from the camcorder speaker. And on the frozen screen, those 4 silhouettes still stood between the trees behind the missing hikers. Us, exactly us. Ryan immediately grabbed the camera. No, he zoomed into the image shakily. The quality was terrible, grainy, distorted, but there was no mistaking it anymore. One figure held a flashlight exactly like mine. Another wore Evan's bright orange jacket, and the tallest silhouette was carrying a camera on his shoulder. Evan slowly backed away from the screen. "That's impossible," Mia whispered. Maybe somebody edited this recently, but even she didn't sound convinced, because the timestamp still read October 12, 2009, 13 years ago, before we'd even met each other. The camcorder suddenly glitched violently in Ryan's hands. Static burst across the screen. Then a new clip appeared automatically. This one lasted only 7 seconds. The footage showed the exact same fire tower ruins where we'd found the camera earlier that evening. Except now someone stood beside the collapsed tower staring directly into the lens, tall, black-faced, motionless. Then the figure slowly raised one long arm and pointed behind the cameraman. The person filming turned suddenly and the recording ended. Evan tried laughing again, but his voice shook badly. "Okay, we're done." He shut the camcorder closed instantly. Nobody argued this time. The atmosphere inside the tent had completely changed. The forest no longer felt empty. It felt occupied, like something out there knew we were watching. Ryan grabbed his flashlight. "We should leave now." Mia looked outside immediately. During the storm, thunder rolled across the woods. Rain hammered the trees harder now while darkness swallowed everything beyond our tiny campsite. Driving through mountain roads at night during that weather would have been dangerous, but staying suddenly felt worse. Then came the sound, footsteps, crunching slowly through wet leaves outside the tent. Everyone froze. The footsteps circled the campsite once, slowly, deliberately, then stopped directly beside the tent wall. We couldn't even breathe. A shadow appeared faintly against the tent fabric outside, tall, far too tall. Its head nearly reached the top of the tent. Mia started crying silently beside me. The figure remained motionless for several seconds. Then it moved away. The footsteps disappeared back into the forest. Nobody spoke for nearly a full minute afterward. Then Ryan whispered, "We're leaving." We packed everything in under 2 minutes. The storm worsened as we hurried through the woods using flashlights to follow the trail back toward the parking lot. But after nearly 20 minutes walking, we realized something horrifying. The trail was gone, not hidden, gone. The forest looked completely different now. Trees we'd never seen before surrounded us on all sides while the terrain sloped downward unnaturally. Evan kept turning his camera around nervously. This isn't right. Then the camcorder beeped loudly inside his backpack. Everyone jumped. The thing had turned on again by itself. Evan slowly removed it. The screen displayed a new recording. Dated October 13, 2022, today's date. Our date. My stomach dropped instantly. That's impossible. The clip started playing automatically. Shaky footage, dark forest, heavy rain. The person recording breathed heavily while moving through trees. Then the camera tilted upward slightly, showing us. All four of us walking through the woods exactly like we were right now. Same storm, same flashlights, same conversation. Ryan stared at the screen horrified. The footage was recording us in real time. Then suddenly the cameraman whispered, "They still don't know it's behind them." Cold spread through my entire body. Slowly, all four of us turned around. Nothing stood there. Only endless dark trees swaying in the rain. Mia screamed suddenly, "Turn it off." Evan tried. The buttons wouldn't respond. The footage kept playing. We watched ourselves continue walking through the woods from behind, exactly several seconds ahead of real life. Then the camera inside the footage stopped moving, like whoever filmed us had stopped walking, but we kept moving away from it. The cameraman whispered again, "Too late." The footage zoomed slowly toward the darkness between the trees behind us, and standing there was the tall black-faced figure, watching our group silently, exactly where we just looked seconds earlier, except now it was closer, much closer. Its arms hung almost to its knees while rain slid across skin so dark it looked unnatural. No eyes, no mouth, only darkness where a face should have been. The figure tilted its head slowly. Then the footage ended. The camcorder screen went black. Nobody moved, nobody breathed. Then somewhere behind us in the real forest, a branch cracked loudly. We turned our flashlights toward the trees, and standing between them was the figure, watching us silently through the rain, exactly like the footage. Mia screamed. Ryan grabbed her while Evan nearly dropped both cameras. The thing didn't move. It simply stood there unnaturally tall between the trees. Then its head twitched sideways sharply like a broken puppet, and suddenly it sprinted toward us, not human running. Its limbs jerked violently at impossible angles while it moved through the trees faster than anything I've ever seen. We ran instantly. Branches slammed against our faces while mud slipped beneath our boots. Behind us, we heard it crashing through the forest, keeping pace easily. Evan screamed, "This way." Ahead through the rain, we spotted lights. A cabin, old, abandoned, but shelter. We burst through the front door seconds before the creature reached the clearing. Ryan slammed the door shut while thunder shook the woods outside. Everyone gasped for breath inside the darkness. Then lightning flashed through the dirty cabin windows, and for one horrifying second, we saw the figure standing motionless outside, directly against the glass, watching us. Then the camcorder inside Evan's hand turned on one final time. A new recording appeared. The timestamp read, 1 hour from now. And the thumbnail image showed our cabin covered in blood. The cabin fell completely silent. Rain hammered the roof overhead while the camcorder screen glowed faintly inside Evan's shaking hands. 1 hour from now, none of us wanted to press play, but we did anyway. That was our final mistake. The footage started immediately. Shaky camera movement, heavy breathing, darkness inside the exact same cabin we were standing in. Furniture overturned, blood smeared across the walls, and somewhere nearby someone crying. The camera slowly moved through the room. Then we saw Ryan, or what was left of him. His body hung twisted against the ceiling beams unnaturally high above the floor while black liquid poured slowly from his mouth. Mia screamed and stumbled backward into the wall. No, 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 the footage continued. The cameraman moved toward the cabin windows. Outside. Something circled the building through the rain, the tall figure. Only now we could finally see it clearly. Its body wasn't solid. It constantly shifted like moving darkness trying to imitate a human shape. And inside its face, other faces moved beneath the black surface. Human faces screaming silently. Then the cameraman whispered something that froze my blood completely. "If you're watching this," static crackled violently. "It already followed you out." The footage glitched, then suddenly showed Mia hiding beneath a table crying while footsteps moved slowly across the cabin floor toward her. Heavy, wet, not human. Mia shut her eyes immediately. "I don't want to see this," but the camera kept playing by itself. The footage cut again. Now it showed Evan standing alone outside the cabin screaming into the forest while shining his flashlight wildly between the trees. Then the camera tilted upward. And hanging from the branches above him were dozens of people, bodies suspended high in the trees like hunting trophies. Old hikers, campers, hunters, some looked decades old, others looked recent, and among them hung the missing hikers from the 2009 footage, still moving slightly in the wind. Evan nearly threw the camcorder away. "This isn't happening." Then the footage changed one final time. The camera now pointed toward the cabin doorway toward us, all four of us standing exactly where we currently stood watching the recording. My stomach dropped instantly because this wasn't old footage anymore. This was happening now. The version of us inside the video slowly turned toward the camera together, and every single one of us smiled, not normal smiles, wide, unnatural, the same horrible smile from the missing hikers. Then Video Me spoke directly into the camera. "You should have left it buried." The footage ended, silence. Nobody moved. Then came 3 slow knocks against the cabin door. Knock, knock, knock. Mia started sobbing instantly. Ryan whispered, "Don't open it." Another knock came, harder this time. Then the voice spoke from outside, Evan's voice. Guys, every hair on my body stood up. Because Evan was standing beside us. The voice outside repeated softly, "Let me in." Evan backed away from the door, shaking violently. "That's not me." Then the thing outside started laughing. Not normal laughter. It sounded like multiple voices layered together trying to imitate human emotion. The cabin windows suddenly exploded inward. Glass shattered across the room as darkness rushed inside. The figure unfolded itself through the broken window impossibly fast. Up close it barely resembled a person anymore. Its limbs bent backward, its body stretched unnaturally tall, and beneath the shifting black skin, faces pushed outward screaming silently. Ryan grabbed a broken chair and swung at it. The chair passed partly through the thing like smoke. Then the creature grabbed Ryan. Its arm elongated impossibly around his throat before dragging him violently upward into the darkness above the ceiling beams. Ryan screamed once. Then his body disappeared into the shadows overhead. Blood rained onto the floor. Mia lost control, completely screaming hysterically while Evan grabbed her toward the back door. "Move!" We burst outside into the storm. Behind us, the cabin lights flickered violently while Ryan's screams echoed from inside the ceiling. Then suddenly stopped. The forest ahead looked wrong now. The trees stretched unnaturally tall while shadows moved independently through the rain. And everywhere we pointed our flashlights, we saw people standing between the trees. The missing hikers, dozens of them, watching silently. Their grey faces smiled unnaturally while black liquid dripped from their eyes. Evan shouted, "The road should be here," but the forest kept changing around us. Trails looped endlessly, the same trees appeared repeatedly, and no matter which direction we ran, we somehow returned closer to the fire tower ruins, like the woods themselves were trapping us. Then the camcorder beeped again, still in Evan's hand. One final recording appeared automatically. The timestamp simply read. Now the footage showed the collapsed fire tower in the rain, and beside it, someone buried the camcorder slowly beneath the dirt. The cameraman's face never appeared, but we recognized the jacket instantly. It was Evan. Mia whispered, "No." Then the camera angle shifted slightly, and standing far behind Evan in the footage were me and Mia, dead, grey-skinned, smiling, the same smile. The footage ended. At that exact moment, Evan stopped running. He stared down at the camcorder, breathing heavily. Then slowly he smiled, wide, unnatural, exactly like the others. Mia backed away, horrified. Evan, he looked toward the forest calmly now, like he finally understood something we didn't. Then he whispered softly, "It doesn't stop recording." Before we could react, he sprinted into the trees carrying the camcorder. Mia screamed after him, but darkness swallowed him instantly. Then silence returned to black hollow forest. Only rain, only trees, only whispers moving somewhere beyond the darkness. Mia and I eventually escaped at sunrise. At least, I think we did. Police searched the forest for weeks. They found no cabin, no fire tower, no Evan, no Ryan, nothing. But sometimes late at night, I still hear static coming from my closet. And 3 nights ago, a package appeared outside my apartment door. No return address. Inside was an old camcorder covered in dirt, still recording. If you are new here, subscribe to Tales of the Dark, where every story gives you a nightmare.